All right, guys. So I'm getting ready to install our AC delete panel. You can see I got a big ass bead of the 3M window weld, which you can get at most auto parts store. This isn't something you need to go to the auto body supply store for. This is window urethane. This is what holds windshields in cars. It's window weld. It's urethane. I can't pop it out right now. I'm still using it, but I made a couple of holes to locate the piece. The one on the corner here, where is it? It snuck off right here. That's where I'm going to end up putting. I had to make 2 holes, and then the other ones I'll drill once it's on there somewhat. I'm just going to be using a couple of fasteners, not a lot, because the window weld is going to hold it for the most place, and then I'm going to use the remainder to seal off the edges with just smearing it like GM would have with, you could still see some of the old residue left. As you can see, my headers are bolted in, fuel pump is in, I got new breathers, dipsticks in, the transmission's all buttoned up because the seal that I installed was shit. Cross members bolted up, a lot of small stuff this weekend. I ended up having, these headers are slightly different than the last ones I had, but they're for a 68 to a 72A body. And on the other side, one of the header tubes is barely hitting the frame. If it makes noise, I'm just going to take a pry bar and bend it out of the way, but neither here nor there. I did have to move a brake line from the back side of the cross member on the front to the other side. So I'm going to have to remake that brake line, but once is, I can do that later. After this is all set, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the rear taillights back on and the bumper on. And then really, all we have to do is button up the front, run our wiring, and it's getting close. I bought hinge pin kits for this. I still plan on ordering the hinges. I'm going to do it this week. Hopefully I can get them sooner rather than later. And, just to have some spares. Depending, if they're in really good shape, I'll use them, and I'll just rebuild these and hang on to them. Because I can ultimately rebuild these to like brand new. And that would be nice when I go to do the body work. I do plan on putting some used ones in there still. So I'm going to go ahead, get this screwed in place, and then I'll do a follow-up on that to show you guys how that all got set up. Coming at you from the breezy shores of my dirty-ass garage. All right, guys, so this is video number 2, which obviously is going to be part of the last segment. I guess it's really not video number 2, but we got the AC box in. Looks pretty good. I did blob on a little bit of urethane on the stainless screws I put in. Pretty much what GM did as well to kind of hold the fasteners in place, because all they did was use quick nuts in there, and they would put just dabs of silicone, or not silicone there, or seam sealer on there. I used urethane. This is window weld. This is what holds windshields onto cars. This stuff is amazing. It works really good, but whatever you fucking use it on, you better plan on having it there for a while. Otherwise, it sucks to cut out. It's pretty much the same process as removing glass. You either got to heat it up or you cut it. Guys actually will use this on the end rails of engines, but it makes it really hard to remove. So this actually turned out really nice. I'm really, really happy with that. I'm excited. The firewall looks complete. It's got like that natural dip in there, which, yeah, I could have broken it up in there and thrown a rib in there looking at it now, but ultimately it's serving its purpose. You can see that the soft dips kind of match some of the other areas on the firewall. And as mentioned earlier, I got a lot of small stuff done. Bolted up my headers, got my starter in place, a lot of things like that. But I got the rear bumper back on and the lights, and I realized that the last time I put this bumper on, I put it on wrong. And I'll explain. There's supposed to be a molding that goes in here that is gone. I didn't know any better when I put this car together. And this part of the license plate, I had adjusted to sink behind the bumper. And the bumper sat flush up to this. And I was crawling down there, and I'm much more experienced at looking for what's missing. And there's like 1, 2, 3, and 4 speed nuts underneath. So, like to screw screws into, like U-nuts, U-bolt, U-nuts, whatever the fuck they call them. For a guy who works in the industry, my terminology is horrible. I'm not going to fucking lie. So, yeah, I have that gap. I'm sure those moldings are in the basement. But it's bolted up. I just got two nuts on each side. Again, weight reduction. So, it looks good on there. I'm very happy. Everything lines up pretty good. Actually, it looks better than before. Again, when I put the back end of this car together, I was very, very green still. I think I was maybe started putting this car together maybe back in 2010. So I maybe been like 2.5 years, 3 years into the collision repair industry, and been doing this for 14 years now, collision repair, stuff like that, and I've certainly come a long way. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress I made this week. I was thinking about getting the gas taken today, but I didn't want to, I can modify the nozzle, right? Let me drag it out. I can modify this nozzle now. The video about the venting was pretty successful. I really want to follow this one through. I talked with my wife. She suggested I go to a fuel cell, but for our current use, the 3/8 lines are more than enough fuel flow for our engine and its demands. So when we go to the big block olds, the 463, we're going to go ahead and do a fuel cell with 1/2-inch lines. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just do the 3/8 lines and the 5/16 return. And of course, we're going to continue with keeping the vent. Now, one thing I thought about was the vent for this tank used to go to a canister. So I have to figure out something because I don't have a canister. So I'm going to have to find somewhere to vent it into where it's maybe just in the atmosphere, but not like in an unsafe spot. But that's simple enough. And of course, we're going to cut our neck. We're going to add our vent from just underneath this bend to right above where you'd be filling. So we're going to do that probably week after next, because next week's plan is, I really would love to enjoy driving my car, but I'm at a point in my life where it really bugs me to drive this car without the hood. If I was a little younger, it wouldn't bug me. But it just, you get caught in the rain. I have a lot of money tied up in this motor, and not something that I would like to get caught in the rain. If it was something I've built in the past, I probably wouldn't have given two shits. But we have to fix the hood. And today when I walked by, I realized that this hood actually does have a radius in the side profile. You can see it if you follow the side. So using the flat pieces that I was going to use, it's going to still be fine because the hinges are scissored in and we can ultimately shim stuff. But I'm going to show you guys. I bought this for a different purpose and didn't end up using it. But essentially, the pieces I'm going to be using are going to be 2 feet long. So they're going to go in there. And we're going to overlap the square tubing. I'm going to notch this out. And we're going to rivet the tubing to the side piece. And then we're going to rivet and countersink the straight piece in 2 spots back here. 2 spots back here. In the middle, it's just going to be panel bonded. I'm going to use JB Weld because I'm being a little cheap, but I am going to have rivets on the top side, so I should be fine. They're going to be countersunk, and then it's all going to be fiberglassed in afterwards. So it's not just going to be like a hillbilly fucking repair with some square tubing and rivets and shit. I am going to run, some square tubing. I bought some 1.5-inch aluminum, thinking that I could get away with it, but you know what? I didn't like it, so I went to the local Farm and Fleet and bought this perforated, already like pre-punched post square tubing. Like this is like something out of a street sign. Now there is a goofy offset to these that is going to make it a little hard for me, but it's not going to be impossible to work with it. I figured that whole scenario out already, so that's not even an issue. But this is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to have to obviously drill this first, and then put it on the hood where I want it, and then drill through the top. So temporarily, I'm going to end up using screws, whatever screws I can use to hold the hood to that bar in lieu of rivets until I figure out exactly what I'm going to be doing. And then once we lay our glue down and once we got everything down, we're going to go ahead and do our glue, our rivets, let it dry for 24 hours, and then we're going to go ahead and do our layers of fiberglass over the underside. Obviously, we're not going to match a lot of this. This whole inner structure is going to get cut because it's pretty much useless, and in my opinion, it's just there for show to tie the front to the back. There was a thin brace at the back here, but we'll see what happens. I might layer some extra fiberglass back here just for a little bit more support on the front. But ultimately, we'll see what happens. I was just intending to do my 2-foot sections here at the bottom, cutting this out and going with that. We'll see how flimsy that is once I get it up on the stand, and I may opt to run a little bit more fiberglass in the back just for a little bit of a support, or buying some tubing or something to run across the back as a brace, because there was a brace back there that was filled like with this hard shit that they put in there. I don't even know what the fuck this is. So that's the plan for next weekend. I don't intend to have this hood done next weekend. I just want the hood to the point where I can put it back on the car. I might be rocking some flat black primer on the hood for a little bit until I, money and time to get this hood painted, because this hood is going to rock a badass paint job just like we got on the trunk. Now, I did do a video on this a while ago, but for those of you guys who are either just joining us or are newly subscribed, as I've been working on the Pontiac, I've been posting a lot on the Pontiac forums, but I am ultimately an Oldsmobile guy. And this paint job I did over a year ago, a friend of mine and I came up with the patterns and the design. I sprayed it all out, and I love working with him because we kind of both know how to, how can I say this? We both know how to complement our work, but also we know, we're not going to shit on each other's ideas because we both really respect each other's ideas. And this was a collaboration of thoughts and design. So we're going to have something like that going on the hood with the same colors. I still got leftover paint from that time. But for now, we got to get the repairs done. I got to get the hood on, and I'm just probably going to do it in flat black until I'm ready to throw it on the paint. I really would like to do the hood with him, so I might just wait because I really need somebody to counter my ideas, as sometimes I get stuck in a certain motion and he'll change it up, and that's what we ended up doing on the trunk. So I won't hold you guys up more. I really wish we had a lot more interesting stuff to do, and this is pretty much going to sit for the next week until I can maybe get the hood on. So I'll let you guys go. Thank you for subscribing, following. We hit 250 subscribers, and for me, that's like a milestone. Like, I never thought I'd have that many people interested in what I'm doing, which is really cool. And hopefully I can help you guys out and give you guys ideas on maybe a little bit different ways to do things, which I like exchanging ideas, and I've learned a lot from people, and I've tweaked things, and hopefully you guys can take what I'm doing and make it your own, whichever way you want. I really don't care. I'm having fun doing this, sharing my work with people, and I got somewhat of an audience, and it makes it enjoyable. So, I'll let you guys go.